Welcome everybody to another Heroes of the Storm video on Khaldor TV. Today we have a match on Sky Temple and we have a game between Gamers2, the Polish top team, and Team Kick, who joined Nihilum. So we have them with a new organization. Congratulations, by the way. Very well done. We have more and more teams suddenly making an appearance in Heroes of the Storm, picking up teams, and I really like it. And the game that we have here on Sky Temple is actually a fun one. The Polish team playing with Sergeant Hammer here, dusting off the old tank, and we're also seeing them with the Lost Vikings, which are a lot more popular these days, and this is one of the maps where you see them actually quite often. And at the same time, we're having Team Kick going into a composition that centers a lot on, or focuses a lot on stuns. We have Kerrigan in the composition, Murden is suddenly starting to make a comeback. We have not only seen him in this particular game, but also in other matches in the recent past, and with that, they are trying to take down Gamers2 here in the ZOTAC Cup. So guys, jumping into game number one, we're going to find, well actually it's the only game, sorry, my bad, it's a best of one because it was in the earlier stage of the tournament that the two teams met. But either way, Sky Temple is the map, we're going to jump right in and find out who's going to take it here.
Sky Temple, once again at the map here in the tournament at the ZOTAC Cup. We have this time Nihilum go up against Gamers2. Nihilum is actually Team Kick. They just got picked up by the organization, so congratulations to them once again. To the left side of the map we have the Polish team. On the other hand, we have Szajku on ETC, Leo from Poland on Malfurion, Nika on Sergeant Hammer, ADRD is playing the Lost Vikings, and Yowe is playing Sylvanas. To the right side of the map for good old Nihilum, aka Team Kick, we have Rolik on Jaina, Vontil on Uther, Tazdingo on Vala, Mopsio on Murden, and Alex the Pro G on Kerrigan. Again, it is Lost Temple, Sky Temple, not Lost Temple. Like, this time they found the temple and it was like all up in the sky, so they started to rename it. Blizzard in general has a thing with temples, like in StarCraft and Warcraft. I mean, first they lost the temple, then they destroyed the temple, yeah, they shattered the temple, and now it's the Sky Temple. Like, something's really going on with them. But I have to say that this version of the map is pretty interesting. So yeah, we're gonna jump into this match here with a tri-lane up to the top. And up in the mid lane we're having Yowe as the only hero on Sylvanas right now. At the bottom of the map it is Szajku, and you can already see that we have a few changes in the initial talents, with Mopsio and Alex the Pro G going for a bit of a gang squad. I like that Yowe is actually up here at the top lane, just in a little nook here and trying to gather the experience over there, because he's already afraid that there might be something coming from the south to take him out. We have the Thunderclap build on the side of Muradin, which is actually an interesting choice if you think about it, because there's not really too much right-click potential on the side of the opponent's team. Well, let me clarify that in a second. First of all, let's see if that is going to be successful yet. Nope, the Haunting Wave is being used by Yowe to escape here. Yeah, I'm a bit confused about the Reverberation taken on level 1, because that's usually something that you use against heroes like Vala, and especially when you are up against Nihilum. In this case, though, there are not too many. Well, I guess for the Lost Vikings, actually I guess for the Lost Vikings it's probably not a bad thing. Like, if you have this many in there and you hit like several targets with it, that could be pretty cool. On the other hand, if you go for the Storm Bolt build with a Piercing Bolt, you can really farm your Q against Lost Vikings because there's so many targets. So you can really argue about that choice. But Mopsio feels pretty confident with that, and if in those teamfights on the temples he's able to hit quite a few targets with a Thunderclap, then it can actually do a whole lot of work. We're also seeing the Scouting Drone taken on Malfurion, and this is pretty cool since Scouting Drone in this current patch has been improved by Blizzard. It has now 2 charges, and it's just better in general. We have at the same time now Sylvanas with Envenom after with the Wind, the standard build for the hero, which you always see in every single tournament right now. I think the only thing that sometimes is a bit changed is that on level 7 you don't necessarily have to go for follow through, but can go for the additional pushing talent if you want to. Not really all that common, but it happens, and then the siege damage numbers of Sylvanas just explode. Of course, in this case, we have Resistant taken and Maelstrom Shells on Sergeant Hammer. And up at the top lane, here comes Kerrigan! Nika! Oh, just barely alive! Leo from Korea with his protective shield. Kerrigan is dead. Wow, can't believe that that backfired this hard against Nihilum. That was really quite something. I really thought that in this case we would see at least one of the heroes from Gamers2 die, but they were able to keep themselves alive here. I still think that Malfurion was an easy target there after he's nearly escaped. They killed Sylvanas though, and Sylvanas' Haunting Wave just was too late in this case. Very cool start into this game. Experience is still fairly even on both sides. We're having now, of course, the Thunderbird here on level 4 because Mopsio decided to go, at least for now, for the full Thunderclap build. I'm personally a bit interested to see if he wants to go for the double stun on level 7 still with a piercing bolt, because oftentimes back in the days when we had Muradin in basically every single game, we saw sometimes against right-click builds just the first 2 Thunderclap talents, and then on level 7 you would go for the double stun, since you just would play Muradin as more of a utility hero and trying to get the lockdown within the fights. That's going to be quite the interesting move. We have for both the teams 1 and Venom already taken, and level 7 hits a bit faster for Nihilum, and let's see what the talents are going to be for both the teams here. I really love that experience is so even at this point. It's going to make the fight at the bottom of the map for the next temple pretty epic. Oh, look at that, Hot Pursuit taken. The level 7 talent on Vala, now that battle momentum is gone, is of course still one of those things where people discuss what they think is best here. Most of the time we see searing attacks, but there have been a few players who go for Khaldrops, for example, and in this case it is Hot Pursuit, so just a bit of additional attack speed. Muradin going for battle momentum. I actually saw that played once by Team Liquid, I feel. They used that. It's an interesting talent to take on Muradin, and can actually, I guess, do quite some work if you have a long extended fight and can really go, oh, the stuns! Nice! That was really well done by Nihilum. Great kill for them. 3 kills against 1, anticipating the haunted wave from Sylvanas, already moving towards that location with Alex and Mopsio, and then making sure that she couldn't jump, didn't have an escape left. Very well done. So the double battle momentum in this case can, in those long extended fights for the temple, really come into play and do a whole lot of work. We're having now Enduring Growth taking on the side of Malfurion. And apparently another attempt to take down Nika, who thrusted away just in time. And that wasn't really a big problem for him. Besides that, we have the standard build for the Lost Vikings. I mean, let's be honest about it. For Lost Vikings, there's basically one build that is being played, and that is it. Jump on level 7, spin to win on level 4, Viking Horde on level 1. Temple at the bot lane is currently starting up. And right now, most of the talents, of course, are pretty obvious on level 10, at least when we're looking on the side of Nihilum. What they could do, though, is they could go for... Oh, Dastingo. Yeah, they could go for Strafe on him instead of the stun. Depends a bit on if they feel the need for additional lockdown. Rain of Vengeance is definitely something that they could throw in. Once that Kerrigan jumps in and gets a stun lock in, Rain of Vengeance could do quite a lot of work, especially when Muradin is trying to get another Stormbolt in there. But in regards to damage, if they're not really too happy with the Jaina setup alone, they can always go for Strafe here and just try to keep Vala out of the fray. So the other talents are of course going to be Water Elemental, Divine Shield, Kerrigan with Maelstrom, and Avatar on the bearded guy, Muradin. Yeah, and at the bottom lane, looking at the Polish team, we're having the Longbow, Wailing Arrow, Napalm Strike, Stage Dive, and Tranquility taken. So they are really starting to gain some momentum here with the Temple taking down the first structure to the bot lane, and they rotate with everybody in here except for Balog, who's still in the mid lane trying to soak some experience, but he has to move back now too, or they won't be able to use the longbow. And with a 5-man situation in this case, there is a very high chance that they need to go for the longbow there. Strafe has been the weapon of choice for Dastingo, but he needs to be very careful where he uses that so that he doesn't get eliminated too fast. Mopsio is super low, and suddenly Von Till has to use the Divine Shield for Mopsio. He was planning on using that for Kerrigan, but the tank is already so low. Von Till is also in trouble, and they're just all trying to run, but they're not going to escape, at least not all of them. Jaina goes down, eliminated by Sylvanas in the last case there, with the Withering Arrow, just getting those in one after another. 2 kills against 3, and Gamers2, I mean, they are really suddenly out for blood, aren't they? Already pushing in the bot lane and splitting one of the Vikings off to go straight to the mid lane to soak additional experience. They already have an experience lead, 1.5 level ahead, and Balog in the mid lane is going to make sure that that even increases. It's actually Eric in the mid lane. They split Eric off here. So yeah, he's going straight for that and tries also now to soak the top lane while the rest of the team starts to rotate towards mid. And with that, yeah, he's going to get all those 2 waves. That's pretty cool. Really well timed for the Lost Vikings player in this case. Not quite sure if that was 100% intentional, but that works out very, very well for him. Besides that, the 13 talent is of course going to be an important one, since both of the teams are now starting to look also for boss as a 5-man rotation of Nihilum. They are really, really trying to get 1 or 2 targets killed. Jumping in, killing ADRD, well done. It's that lockdown really that we have on the side of them that is going to be pretty tricky for Gamers2 to deal with. I'm a little bit surprised that he didn't try to go for Shaihu here. Yes, killing the cow would have probably been proven to be a bit difficult, but as long as you get free damage in, I mean, why say no? Didn't really see a reason there, so they could have tried to stun him with Muradin and get a bit of damage in, force him to retreat, go back to the well, and open up a bit of space on the map. Decided against it though, apparently afraid that they would be attacked by the rest of the team too soon before they could do significant damage. 13 talents are now available to Gamers2 though, the Polish team going for Relentless on ETC. Great choice for him here. Oftentimes we see Uber Rockstar taken, which gives you the additional speed, but I don't really think that they need that here. Relentless is the better choice considering how much stun we have on the side of Nihilum, so I really like that the build on ETC was adapted. Giant Killer is, these days at least, the talent that you just simply take on Sergeant Hammer. And besides that, we're having now again Evasive Fire, Life Seed taken, so a lot of heals on the side of Gamers2. The boss, on the other hand, is claimed at the bot lane, and I have to say that I'm a little bit surprised that it is the Nihilum going for the boss. Oh, they don't have the bottom temple. Sorry guys, I actually thought they had bottom temple and boss. I was just about to mention that I find that a bit strange and thought that they would be the ones who have to like just say, okay, we can only take one boss. As it happens, both of the temples end up in the hands of Gamers2, and that's of course great now for them because they get all the shots in, or most of them at least, and that drops the top wall. The boss is going to be, at least for now, stopped by ETC jumping into the top lane and is immediately trying to stage dive in, to slide in. Montil and Tazdingo have been rooted here for a second, but Mopsio jumps in with the thunderclap. Alex the Pro G right behind him, already Divine Shield. Mopsio needs to be careful, they don't have the 13 talent, but they are dropping ETC. The tank is gone, the longbow is dishing out the damage though. AD with the Vikings is about to drop 2, Kerrigan already dead, and they kill Muradin. So right now Sylvana is disabling the keep, and at the same time the rest of them are just on the run. Tazdingo is helping out to supply some damage to cover Rollig and Von Till, and both of them, all 3 of them, get to safety. But this keep is a goner. There's no way to keep that alive anymore. Muradin going for Burning Rage over the additional clap talent on 13. We're having Jaina and also Kerrigan both with sprint now. The boss at the bottom lane, not really able to do too much, but well, they killed the fort and they are also now able to claim at least the wall. The problem that they are facing is that they are up against the level 16 talent on the side of Gamers2, so that's bad news for them. Vala will, with a frost shot on level 13, at least supply some additional control in those fights, but for them it feels more an issue of damage or killing the right targets. Taking ETC out of the fight is of course great, but if that Sergeant Hammer still dishes out damage, then you are in a lot of trouble. Oh, an adjustment, large and in charge. When Olaf charges enemy, they're stunned for a second, so a bit of stun here. Usually you don't see that. I mean, it's pretty normal to see Impatience as a virtue on level 13, but this is a bit of an adjustment that they made here. I'm not quite sure if that was a misclick, but that extra stun could of course really help them to chase down a target in this case. Norse Force is usually what 99% of the players go for. So, interesting. We're going to keep an eye on that, if that's going to be chosen a bit more often by Gamers2, if they're playing the hero, or if that turns out to be a misclick. Right now we're having, in terms of like raw damage, the numbers pretty high up on the side of Vala, but if you just disregard Vala for a second and you compare it to the setup that we're seeing for Gamers2, it's just more consistent damage on Viking, Sergeant Hammer and Sylvanas with that pushing presence against, or this disable talent that she has against the force. You can really see how much damage she does. Jaina in this game didn't really do a whole lot. 14,000 damage on Jaina, that is not really too crazy, so she wasn't able to get too much of the damage in, and that's always a bit disappointing. With Jaina you usually want to do a whole lot more, and the whole idea of Nihilum here is to just jump in with Muradin and Kerrigan and really disrupt the flow of the game for the opponent, and then have those squishies in the back dishing out the damage from a safe distance. They're trying that again, but yeah, even with that Blizzard, doesn't really look too good. 16 versus 18, that means the additional talents are now available for Nihilum too, and that means Stone Form to make Muradin more tanky. That means also Northern Exposure. They're jumping in already, but Kerrigan has to be careful, so does Mopsio. Wow, that last second Divine Shield, he really needs to go back, and he needs to go back fast. They lost 2 of their keeps already, and this third one is being attacked now as well. Once the keep is down and the temple at the bot lane is taken, that means that the core is going to suffer a lot of damage. That's why they're making their last stand here. Going in with a clap. Kerrigan gets away with her sprint, but that longbow is doing work, and Mopsio, this time he is not making it. Mopsio dies. Rolik, Von Till, and Taz Dingo, they're all in trouble. A last second heal by Von Till. He's really trying to keep his bros alive, but this is just bad news. Everybody on the side of Gamers2 is nearly at full health, maybe with the exceptions of Sylvanas in here, but the mana pool is also looking pretty solid. And with hovering siege mode, we're seeing Nika now moving straight towards that core again, using Napalm to just like drop that shield. They're taking down the structures, and well, the only thing that they have to do is just split one hero down and take that temple, and that's what they're doing with ADRD. Kerrigan is dead, and we have Sergeant Hammer killed as well, but it doesn't matter anymore. As long as Olaf holds that temple, they're gonna win. He just needs to make sure that Guardians are not gonna take him down, and with Uther dying and Jaina, this is of course going to be lights out. 67% on the core. Shaihu and Leo are still there. ADRD with Eric is running around too. The GG already called, and this is going to be Gamers2 advancing over Nihilum, the former Team Kick in the ZOTAC Cup. Congratulations to them. Really well played. And we're going to see them again in the next round.
Gamers2 with the victory. They advance in the ZOTAC Cup, take down Nihilum. Great game by them, really well played. And of course their combinations completely working out for them, especially when we saw Sergeant Hammer doing all that damage in the back. That really worked for them here. And they take it, they advance in the bracket, and we are gonna of course watch the rest of their games as well. Guys, I hope that you enjoyed the match today. If you did, give the video a thumbs up on YouTube, you know the drill. And I see you soon again for more Heroes of the Storm content here on the channel.